From the PEP Radio Newsroom, these are the stories we are covering at this hour. President Donald Trump posted a letter to social media Thursday evening announcing Canadian goods will be subject to a 35% tariff rate starting August 1st, an aggressive increase to the 25% tariff first announced by Trump back in February. Trump justified the tariffs as necessary to manage America's opioid crisis, which he said was partially due to fentanyl being smuggled into the United States via Canada. The two countries have been at the negotiating table discussing trade after Canada dropped plans for a tax on U.S. technology firms following pressure from the White House. Trump closed the letter by suggesting if Canada assists the U.S. in preventing fentanyl from entering the country, then Trump would perhaps consider adjusting the tariff rates. "You will never be disappointed with the United States of America," the president wrote on his social media site. Well, we checked on Trump's claim about reducing fentanyl drug trafficking across the U.S.-Canadian border. According to CTV from Canada, barely any of the fentanyl seized in the United States originates from Canada, according to a new report from the U.S. think tank, the Manhattan Institute. Published on Canada Day, the study examined thousands of large-scale fentanyl seizures across 80 U.S. counties along the Canadian and Mexican borders. They found that by weight, about 99% of fentanyl pills, capsules, or tablets, and 97% of powder, resin, or tar gathered in large land boundary seizures between 2013 and 2024 were discovered in U.S.-Mexico border counties, and that large Canadian border seizures were relatively rare. While stark, that percentage is not out of line with existing estimates of illicit U.S. imports. New data on fentanyl seizures presented here largely reinforce previous understanding that most illegally manufactured fentanyl enters the United States from the South, the report reads. Now, that report matches a speech delivered by former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, who said that claims that much of the U.S.'s problems with fentanyl comes from Canada are, quote, totally false. In other news, the State Department formally advised staffers Thursday it would be sending layoff notices to some of them in coming days. The workforce cuts and reorganization of the country's diplomatic corps has been planned for months. A recent ruling by the Supreme Court cleared the way for the firings to start while lawsuits challenging the legality of the cuts continue to play out. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has not said exactly how many of what had been roughly 8,100 state employees will be fired. Deputy State Department Secretary Michael Regas issued a statement Thursday advising select staffers would be getting their notices soon. Regas called it part of the department's biggest reorganization in decades. Critics say the scale of cuts floated will lessen U.S. influence globally and make it hard for many departments to carry out their missions. Now, Canada is not the only target of Trumpanzee's tariffs. Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva says he will impose retaliatory tariffs on the United States if President Donald Trump follows through on a pledge to boost import taxes by 50% over the South American country's criminal trial against predecessor Jair Bolsonaro. If there's no negotiation, the reciprocity law will be put to work. If he charges 50% tariffs from us, we will charge 50 from them, Lula told TV Record in excerpts of an interview that will be fully aired later in the day. Respect is good. I like to offer mine, and I like to receive it. Lula's comments raise the risk of tariffs war erupting between the two countries, similar to what has happened between the United States and China. Trump has vowed to respond forcefully if countries seek to punish the United States by adding tariffs of their own. The tariffs letter that Trump sent to Brazil and posted on social media Wednesday, railing against the witch hunt trial against Bolsonaro, is opening up a new front in his trade wars with the U.S. leader directly using import taxes to interfere with another nation's domestic policies. Trump has already tried to use tariffs to ostensibly combat fentanyl trafficking and as a negotiating tool to change how other nations tax digital services and regulate their economies. That's the news for this hour. If you are watching our news videos on YouTube, be sure to click the subscribe button. Download the Live 365 app to take PEP Radio with you wherever you go. Time for the Meadville area weather forecast here on PEP Radio.